Many people think that a breakthrough is the ultimate destination, but I want you to understand something today. A breakthrough is never the end. It is merely the door. It is the moment when God begins to shift your situation, when the impossible starts to bend toward possibility. A breakthrough is not just a change in circumstances. It is the invitation to step into a higher level of favor, a higher level of responsibility, and a higher level of blessing. You might be struggling financially, emotionally, or spiritually, and you may have been fighting for years just to see a little movement. Then all of a sudden something changes. Doors open, opportunities appear, people show up, and that, my friend, is your breakthrough. But here is the crucial truth that many miss. A breakthrough by itself does not make you wealthy, does not make you fulfilled, and does not make you a vessel of influence. God's blessings are what take a breakthrough and multiply it beyond what you could ever imagine. A breakthrough is like the spark that ignites a fire. You can hold a spark in your hand and it will warm you for a moment, but it is God's blessing that turns that spark into a fire that heats a room, lights a path, and transforms everything in its way. Your effort, your persistence, your faith, all of these are what create the breakthrough. But God takes your breakthrough and transforms it into long-lasting, life-changing blessings. Let me be very clear about this. A breakthrough may solve one problem temporarily, but God's blessing multiplies it into an advantage that keeps on giving. It becomes a source of influence, an opportunity for impact, and a testimony that will bless generations, not just you. Many people stop celebrating too early. They see a little success and think they've arrived. They get a new job, a new deal, a new promotion, or they finally pay off a debt and they say, "Thank God I'm blessed." But that is only the starting point. That breakthrough is not the final blessing. It is the invitation to a life of multiplied favor. God wants to take the very thing you fought so hard to achieve and stretch it beyond what you thought was possible. This is why so many people work hard and see results, but they never experience the fullness of God's blessing. They stop at the breakthrough, they stop at the door, and they never step into the overflow. Think about the principle of multiplication in the natural world. A seed is planted, it grows into a small plant, and eventually it produces a harvest that is many times larger than the seed itself. That is exactly how God works in the spiritual and financial realm. Your breakthrough is the seed. Your effort, your discipline, your persistence, that is the planting. And God's blessing is the multiplication, the harvest that is far greater than the small beginnings you once saw. You may have spent months or even years in prayer, in planning, in struggling, and then finally God gives you a breakthrough. But do not stop there. Do not let that breakthrough be your ceiling. Let it be your launch pad. I want you to understand the value of patience and expectation in this process. A breakthrough may not always feel like it is happening when you want it to, but when it does, God will take it and turn it into a blessing that exceeds your imagination. Many people fail because they celebrate too early, they settle too quickly, and they stop believing that there is more. God does not just want to change your circumstances temporarily, He wants to transform your life permanently. He wants to give you favor in places where you have never been favored before, abundance in places where scarcity once reigned, and impact that reverberates far beyond your own personal success. Let me tell you something. Your breakthrough is often the moment God uses to prepare you for a greater assignment. It is the moment when He says, "I've opened this door for you, now walk through it and watch what I will do." You may have struggled financially, you may have struggled emotionally, or you may have struggled in your relationships. That breakthrough that you are waiting for, that moment when God finally shifts things in your favor, is only the beginning. It is the door to blessings that are far bigger than you can plan, imagine, or even dream. God will multiply your breakthrough in ways that will surprise you, not just in the way of material wealth, but in the way of influence, wisdom, and divine favor. You see, many people think of blessings as something they receive passively. They think that if they work hard enough, the breakthrough comes and the blessing automatically follows. But the truth is that God's blessing requires alignment. Your breakthrough is your part, your effort, your faith, and your persistence. God's blessing is His part. It is the multiplication of your seed, the expansion of your effort, and the overflow of your faith. And when you combine your breakthrough with God's blessing, what you have is a life that is far greater than the sum of your struggles, the sum of your efforts, and the sum of your prayers. Consider this. A breakthrough often comes after a long period of perseverance. It comes after you have faced rejection, endured hardship, and overcome obstacles that seemed insurmountable. That moment when the breakthrough finally comes is often the point when people give up or stop believing. But God wants you to see that this breakthrough is not just a reward for your endurance. It is the beginning of an entirely new chapter. It is the moment when God takes the very thing you have been fighting for and turns it into blessings that will extend far beyond your own life. Your breakthrough becomes a platform for others, a testimony for those who need hope, and a source of inspiration for generations to come. God's blessings are always greater than the initial breakthrough. They are designed to multiply your influence, your provision, and your legacy. Many people experience breakthroughs but never experience the blessing because they do not understand that God wants to expand the impact of that breakthrough. A breakthrough is often limited in scope. It solves a specific problem. God's blessing is unlimited in scope. It can transform your relationships, your finances, your purpose, and your destiny. You cannot see it fully at the moment of breakthrough, but if you continue to trust God, continue to walk in faith, and continue to act on the opportunities He gives you, you will witness a multiplication that is beyond your imagination. I want to encourage you today to hold on to your breakthrough and expect the blessing. Do not be satisfied with temporary relief or short-term success. Let your breakthrough be the door, not the ceiling. Let your breakthrough be the starting line, not the finish line. God wants to take that one moment when your life begins to shift and turn it into a continuous flow of favor, abundance, and impact. Your breakthrough may solve a problem today, but God's blessing will solve generations of problems tomorrow. It will create opportunities that you could never have planned for. It will establish influence you never knew you could have, and it will provide resources you never imagined. Remember, your breakthrough is proof that God is at work. It is proof that your efforts, your prayers, and your faith are not in vain. But it is also the invitation to greater trust, greater expectation, and greater obedience. God does not just want you to reach a milestone. He wants to take that milestone and multiply it into blessings that will exceed your imagination. Every breakthrough carries with it the seed of divine multiplication. Your job is to recognize it, nurture it, and act on it. God's job is to multiply it, expand it, and turn it into something extraordinary. So today, I want you to leave this message with a new perspective. Your breakthroughs are not the final destination. They are the doors God opens for greater things. They are the invitation to step into His abundance, His favor, and His divine purpose. Do not stop at the breakthrough. Do not settle for temporary victory. Walk through the door, expect the blessing, and watch as God multiplies your life beyond what you thought was possible. Your breakthrough is powerful, but God's blessing is unstoppable. When you combine the two, you do not just have success. You have a life that transforms, a life that inspires, and a life that impacts generations. The key is to keep moving forward, to remain faithful, and to understand that God's blessing is always greater than your breakthrough. It is the multiplication of effort, the overflow of favor, and the expansion of influence. What you are holding in your hands as a breakthrough today can become the foundation for blessings that will shape your future, your family, and your legacy. So believe it, expect it, and act on it. Let your breakthrough be the beginning of something extraordinary. And remember, God is the one who turns your breakthrough into blessings far beyond what you could ever imagine. Your breakthrough is only the beginning. The blessing is the multiplication. The favor is the overflow. And the life you have been dreaming of is waiting on the other side. Life has a way of testing our faith in ways we never expect. Sometimes we find ourselves in seasons of struggle, rejection, or prolonged waiting, and it feels like the breakthrough we have been praying for is forever out of reach. It is in these moments that trusting God becomes not just important, but essential. Trusting God is not merely about believing that He will act, it is about holding on to faith when everything around you seems to be falling apart, when the doors you expected to open remain shut, and when every promise you have held onto appears delayed. This trust is what transforms ordinary challenges into extraordinary opportunities, and it is through this trust that God begins to turn every difficulty into a blessing that surpasses your expectations. Many people view challenges as obstacles, as problems that block their progress, but God views challenges differently. He sees them as stepping stones, as the very soil in which blessings are planted and grown. When you trust Him through trials, He does not just deliver a breakthrough at the end. He transforms the struggle itself into a series of blessings that develop your character, increase your wisdom, and expand your influence. What seems like an unbearable season today may very well become the foundation for your greatest victories tomorrow. God's ways are higher than our ways, and His timing is perfect. What may appear to you as a long delay is often God's preparation of something far greater than you can imagine. Think about the lessons that come through struggle. When you face rejection, you learn resilience. When you endure hardship, you learn perseverance. When doors close in front of you, God is training you to rely on Him, to sharpen your faith, and to recognize the opportunities He is creating behind the scenes. These are not accidental lessons. They are deliberate blessings that shape you into a person capable of handling the very success, abundance, and influence that your breakthrough will bring. Trusting God in these moments allows you to see challenges not as punishments or failures, but as opportunities for growth, as the hidden seeds of blessing waiting to bloom. Many people are impatient when faced with trials. They pray, they act, they hope, and when results do not come immediately, they lose faith. They begin to wonder if God has forgotten them, if their efforts are in vain, or if the doors of opportunity will ever open. But the truth is that God is always at work, even when we cannot see it. The struggles you face are not signs of God's absence. They are opportunities for God's presence to be revealed in powerful and lasting ways. Trusting Him means believing that every challenge has a purpose, every delay has meaning, and every hardship carries within it the potential for a blessing far beyond what you are experiencing today. When you trust God through your challenges, He begins to convert your trials into tangible blessings. The wisdom gained from navigating difficulties becomes invaluable. You develop insight, discernment, and understanding that cannot be taught in classrooms or learned through books alone. The resilience you cultivate in moments of adversity equips you to handle greater responsibilities and larger opportunities when they arrive. The connections you make, often in unexpected ways, provide resources and alliances that will support your success in ways you could not have foreseen. And the provision that God orchestrates, sometimes appearing in miraculous or surprising forms, sustains you not just for the immediate breakthrough, but for seasons to come. Consider the people in the Bible who faced immense trials before receiving their blessings. Joseph was sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned, yet he trusted God throughout every stage of his journey. What seemed like repeated setbacks were, in reality, God's way of preparing him for the greatest blessing of his life, a position of influence that saved nations and provided for his family for generations. David faced rejection, betrayal, and exile before he became king, and Esther faced danger and uncertainty before she saved her people. In each of these stories, the struggles themselves were the classrooms in which God trained them, and trusting Him allowed those challenges to become the foundation for extraordinary blessings. Trusting God also allows you to maintain perspective during hard times. When challenges come, it is easy to become consumed by frustration, doubt, or fear. But faith shifts your focus from the temporary discomfort to the eternal purpose. It reminds you that God is not just concerned with delivering a quick fix, but with shaping you into a person who can steward blessings responsibly. The breakthrough you are seeking is not only about changing your circumstances, it is about transforming you into someone who can handle abundance, influence, and responsibility. Trusting God in the midst of trials ensures that when the breakthrough finally comes, you are ready to receive it fully, to act on it wisely, and to maximize the blessings that flow from it. Patience is a key element in this process. Trusting God requires patience because His timing rarely aligns with our sense of urgency. It is natural to want immediate results, to wish for problems to disappear overnight, but God often works behind the scenes, orchestrating situations, opening doors, and positioning people in ways that we cannot see. The moments of waiting, the periods of uncertainty, and the seasons of struggle are all part of God's method of preparing a blessing that is bigger, better, and more impactful than we could ever plan. When you trust Him, you allow the process to work as it should, and you position yourself to receive not just a breakthrough, but an overflow of blessings that continue long after the initial victory. Another critical aspect of trusting God through challenges is recognizing that blessings often arrive in unexpected forms. They may not look like what you imagined. They may not arrive when you expected. Sometimes the blessings come in the form of wisdom rather than wealth, character rather than comfort, or influence rather than immediate provision. When you trust God, you are able to see beyond your limited vision and recognize that His blessings are perfect, even if they do not match your original expectations. Challenges are often the very means by which God expands your capacity to receive, appreciate, and multiply these blessings. The process of trusting God also strengthens your faith and builds your testimony. Every challenge you overcome, every trial you endure, every moment you remain faithful despite uncertainty becomes a story of God's faithfulness. These stories not only encourage you to keep moving forward, but they inspire others who may be walking similar paths. Your challenges become a living example of how God can turn difficulties into opportunities, setbacks into triumphs, and struggles into blessings. The breakthrough that comes after trust in God is never just for you. It becomes a beacon of hope and a source of inspiration for countless others. It is important to recognize that trusting God does not mean passivity. It does not mean sitting back and waiting for blessings to fall into your lap. Trusting God means taking action in faith, doing what you can, making wise decisions, and staying consistent in your efforts while leaving the outcome in His hands. It means walking boldly through the doors God opens, even if the path is uncertain, and believing that every step taken in obedience will position you for the blessings that follow. Challenges become opportunities when you act in faith because God rewards diligence, perseverance, and trust. Even in the midst of the most difficult seasons, trust creates peace. When you trust God, you no longer feel defeated by circumstances. You understand that setbacks are temporary, that struggles are purposeful, and that God's plan is unfolding even when it is invisible to you. Peace is the hallmark of trust. It allows you to endure hardships without despair, to remain hopeful when everything seems bleak, and to keep moving forward with confidence that God is turning every challenge into an opportunity for blessing. Trusting God transforms your perspective on hardship. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you begin to ask, "What is God teaching me?" Instead of seeing closed doors as the end, you start seeing them as God redirecting you toward greater opportunities. Instead of focusing solely on what you lack, you start noticing the hidden blessings in your growth, your character, your relationships, and your understanding. Trust is the lens through which challenges become training grounds, setbacks become springboards, and trials become blessings. The blessing that emerges from trusting God in the midst of challenges is often far greater than any immediate breakthrough. It can manifest as wisdom, insight, resilience, divine connections, provision, or spiritual maturity. These blessings not only prepare you for future success, but also ensure that the breakthrough you receive is sustainable and multiplied. God's timing, His orchestration, and His guidance all work together to turn what seems like hardship into a platform for abundance, influence, and impact that far exceeds the original challenge. So today, I want you to understand that your struggles are not wasted. Your challenges are not meaningless. The season of waiting, the moments of rejection, the periods of doubt, they are all opportunities for God to prepare you for something greater. Trust Him. Hold on to your faith. Continue to act in obedience and diligence. Understand that every challenge carries within it the potential for blessing. Your breakthrough will come, and when it does, it will not be limited to solving the immediate problem. It will extend far beyond what you imagined. It will impact your life, your family, your community, and even generations to come. Trusting God through challenges is the pathway to transformation. It is the way that ordinary people become extraordinary, that trials become testimonies, and that setbacks become setups for unimaginable blessings. When you walk in trust, you align yourself with God's power, His timing, and His purpose. Challenges cease to be obstacles. They become opportunities. Hardship becomes preparation. Waiting becomes an investment in a greater harvest. Your faith, exercised in trust, turns every trial into a stepping stone, every difficulty into a foundation, and every setback into a springboard for blessings that will multiply for the rest of your life. The truth is, God is always working behind the scenes, even when you cannot see it. Every struggle you face, every rejection you endure, every moment of uncertainty is part of His divine plan. When you trust Him, the challenges themselves become blessings. The wisdom, resilience, connections, and provision you gain during these seasons equip you for more than just survival. They prepare you for extraordinary success and lasting impact. Trusting God turns challenges into opportunities and opportunities into blessings that far exceed your imagination. Hold on to this truth. Your trials are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of a journey toward multiplied blessings. Trust God, walk in faith, remain diligent, and watch as He transforms every struggle into a stepping stone for your breakthrough and your blessing. The process may be long, the path may be difficult, but the results are beyond your imagination. God is faithful. God is powerful. God is turning your challenges into opportunities and your opportunities into blessings that will last a lifetime and beyond.